Sam LaPorta is having one of the best rookie seasons that we've seen from a tight end in a while. I think you could have a discussion about him being first team all pro this year. Other tight ends, Kelsey, Kittle, there's some good ones. LaPorta fits the Lions offense really well. They use him really well. And we're going to watch a few examples of all of this against the Saints. This, I thought, was one of the best designed red zone plays or plays that we've seen all season, really. Bunch release. He's going to motion to bunch. Three men in the bunch on the release right here. The Saints were in a cover three concept. There's your three. It's hard to see in the red zone. Those are your three deep defenders. Here are your underneath defenders. Now, they played a lot of cover three in this game. They actually played it pretty well. One thing that they did was match the cover three rules, at least to some degree. And what I mean by that is in cover three, your underneath defenders, you got to decide, are we zone, purely zone? Well, what happens if someone goes vertical? And Alontae Taylor, a lot of the times when someone went vertical through a zone, in this case it's Reynolds, he would travel with them. It's a three match type of deal. Now in the red zone, you can pass these routes off a little quicker. Everything's tighter. So Taylor's got help from the post safety. But the point is the Lions, I believe, knew that Taylor would be lifting with Reynolds. So Taylor gets cleared out as a motion to this bunch. We've got Taylor and Reynolds leaving the equation. That leaves Davis, the linebacker, stud linebacker, and then Adebo, the cornerback. How do they handle St. Brown and LaPorta? And what they did is really a smart design by Detroit because St. Brown pauses out of the bunch. So it confuses the rules and assignments for everyone. Understand, Adebo, he's got the most vertical receiver, outside receiver. That's the other part. Who's the widest receiver outside? Who goes vertical? Well, right now, St. Brown's the widest receiver outside. But he's not going vertical. He's stopping right there inside. Here comes LaPorta going vertical. That's Adebo's guy. The problem for the Saints is when you do these bunches in the red area especially, everything's really tight. These guys cannot get up and press or play aggressively because they've got to step back and see how these routes unfold so they know who's got who. Well, Adebo, as he steps back, he's the outside guy. He's watching everything. He comes at that angle. That's what creates a space for LaPorta inside. Remember, Taylor's getting cleared out by Reynolds right here. St. Brown's going to come and occupy Davis, and it's going to be LaPorta against Adebo with leverage. Watch these two guys and how this shakes out right here. LaPorta's angled release. Adebo's widened because he had to widen, and there's the throw, and it's a timing and rhythm throw in space. Jared Goff's one of the best in the NFL at this. Really, really good design by Detroit in the red zone. Okay, third series. This was a 1-by-3 formation. 1-by-3 meaning you've got a tight end by himself out here. LaPorta, nasty split is what they call that. When you're slightly detached, 2-point stance. So there's your 1 and then there's your 3. If that were a wide receiver here, by the way, just so we get our terminology, and let's say LaPorta were over here, that would be a 3-by-1. But when it's a tight end by himself, 1-by-3. The Chiefs do this with Travis Kelce a lot. It's a great way to undress a defense because it's hard to disguise man and zone against 1-by-3. And when you've got a guy, the Chiefs have one in Kelce, like we said, when you've got a guy that can also catch the ball at a high level, now you're really potent out of these 1-by-3 formations. So here's LaPorta basically playing a form of wide receiver, and it's kind of the same thing we saw in the bunch play. He's got leverage and an angle on an in-breaking route, and Goff, we know, throws those timing and rhythm throws inside really well. The reason he's got the leverage and the angle is, again, these tight splits. You don't have to always be in bunch. A tight split in this case forced Isaac Yodom to play off and outside because Yodom can't get up and press. He'd be in the way of the pass rush potentially. You've got a defensive lineman, an edge guy right here. So line him up tight, make Yodom back off, and then understand that LaPorta is going to have clean access on the inside route. And that's really, it was as simple as that on that side of the formation. The other thing we'll take a look at real quick is the Amon-Ra St. Brown factor shows up a few times in this game. Tyrann Mathieu right here plays extra. St. Brown's in a really tight split, and that's where Matthew's focus is on. So watch Mathieu as you see the chip block, which, by the way, by chipping, that not only slows the pass rush, it keeps Matthew's eyes on St. Brown that much longer, which is great because we're throwing behind Mathieu. So there's the chip from St. Brown, and then he's going to threaten Mathieu right away. All we want is to keep Mathieu right down there because we're trying to throw to LaPorta up and over and behind him. And the other part of the play is Demario Davis is a very aggressive linebacker. He sees things and he hits it fast. Well, that worked against him here because this angle route, I don't know if they were doing this as a decoy or if they really did think Gibbs could be an option. But Gibbs departs really sharply, and that gets Davis to depart sharply. Watch, Gibbs goes out almost straight to the sideline, and look at Davis turning and running right there. So by doing that, Davis has cleared himself out of the middle of the field. And that's how the window's created right here. St. Brown takes Matthew, Gibbs takes Davis, middle of the field's wide open. We have the leverage for LaPorta, and there he goes right in there. Gain of, well, it's wound up being a gain of 29 yards because he's going to get some run after catch. Outstanding job by the Lions again. This next play, honestly, it's a good play by the Lions. It's nothing super special for LaPorta. He's at fullback. I wanted to include it just to illustrate that I think he's been an excellent blocker this season, and he can move while he blocks. And so they can line him up in different places. Often we see him off the ball, crossing the formation. This time he's obviously off the ball. He's in the backfield as an I formation fullback, and they're going to get a zone run to our right. He's going to go to our left. The natural flow of the play created a lot of space. So not a difficult block. He does a nice job, though, and that is a 3-time second-team All-Pro defender, maybe some first-team All-Pro awards for Demario Davis. So good block on a good player, but the point is they can line LaPorta up in different spots and use him in different ways as a blocker. That's not true with a lot of other tight ends, especially the good receiving tight ends. All right, we're seeing a theme. The scouting report on LaPorta is very simple. You've got to defend these intermediate in-breaking routes with him. They're doing it in all different ways. He's very good at it. This one's a man coverage defense right here. And watch him set up the defender at the top of the route and create just enough separation right here to present himself as open right on schedule. Now, a couple of things about this play for Detroit. First of all, St. Brown is a big factor for them because the Lions understand he's their best player on offense, their best receiving weapon, certainly. And the Saints are going to pay extra attention to him. So look at Tyrann Mathieu again, focus on St. Brown. This short, timely motion, by the way. Short motion, timely means it's at the snap. Short motion to timely releases out of a stack. That challenges man defenders right here because you get rubs and picks and everything. Now, Isaac Yodom, I don't know what film he watched, but he was right on. He knew St. Brown was coming back on this little half circle, this pivot route. So he's sitting on that. What the Lions were hoping was Yodom would try to chase this and then Brown would pivot back. But Yodom's all over it. Now, the benefit of it, though, and part of the reason Yodom could step back like this, the benefit is Matthew was providing essentially a double team inside. So that's why Yodom did not have to chase it. He was able to sit back and read it really well. While Lions are smart, too. They say, okay, if you're going to double St. Brown, which doesn't shock us that you do that out of man-to-man, a lot of teams are going to do that, then we're going to put our guy right on the back side of that double team because it's going to have to be one-on-one. And just for good measure, we will clear out Josh Reynolds as well. So it's truly one-on-one in space right here. And that's what you get. Another timing and rhythm throw with space, a clear passing lane for Goff, hitting LaPorta on these intermediate in-breaking routes. We've seen in-breaking routes as a detached receiver all game. Well, here is a vertical outside route from LaPorta as an attached tight end, attached to the line of scrimmage. Another really good design, punishing the Saints. Here goes Ben Johnson down the sideline. I believe that's Ben Johnson. He's been running down the sideline lately. But this is punishing the Saints for playing cover 3, which they did. Again, the Saints did it pretty well throughout the game, but the Lions were a step ahead of them on a few plays. So cover 3, here's our rules. Let's go back through them. You got your 3 deep defenders right here. They got the vertical routes outside, and then you've got your 4 underneath defenders. So what you want to do is clear out the vertical defenders and then widen the underneath defenders in different ways. So we're going to see how they do that here with, first of all, there's Gibbs on that motion across, and there's Reynolds up top. So here comes Gibbs motion across, Reynolds up top. Reynolds going to take Adebo with them. Gibbs is going to take Tyrann Mathieu with him. So let's watch those two things play out just so we're clear and on the same page. Reynolds vertical release, Mathieu reads Gibbs the whole way, and now these defenders are out of the picture. So that only leaves the next widest defender then is this undrafted linebacker, second-year player Sewell, who was in because Pete Werner was out injured in this game. So Sewell's in a really tough position right here because with LaPorta releasing inside right here, Sewell is playing to his inside help and his inside rules. Well, LaPorta releases inside, and the second he got behind Sewell, he went outside. This is an unbelievably smart cover 3 Beatiing design right here. They put a lot of pressure on a guy who's not been on the field a whole lot. In fact, it's not almost fair to circle him because I think almost any linebacker would have been defeated right here. This is a case of the offensive play call beating the defensive play call. LaPorta leaks out of there because think about it. If Sewell's going to pass this off, which he's taught to do, if LaPorta's releasing inside of him, Sewell's taught to play that off to the help. If he's going to do that, well, all right, Matthew's been cleared out by Gibbs. Matthew has to take Gibbs. You can't just ignore that. Vertical route's being lifted right there. You can't just ignore the vertical route. These defenders had to vacate. That means who is left to take LaPorta over here? There is no one left to guard him based on the rules of the coverage. Again, a case of the offensive play call beating the defensive play call. All right, last play, and it's going to build on a theme that we've seen all game long. LaPorta on these in-breaking routes. This was 3rd down and 7, 2:48 left in the 4th. This is crunch time to seal the win, basically. Gain of 10 right there. And this was a great catch by LaPorta. Goff did not make his best throw. In fact, let's go to the end zone angle. I'll see if that one will show us right here. Goff was about a foot behind where he wanted to put that ball. He wants it right there. It's right there. Small detail, but that's the difference. You see Goff did not have comfortable body language, but this is why he trusts this tight end right here, because this guy can make the catch when it's an imperfect play. That was not bad coverage. This is man-to-man coverage from the Saints, and we saw the man-to-man, by the way. Here's the pre-snap tell. Detroit does this a lot. Our wide camera starts a little late, but LaPorta lined up out here, and he motioned in the formation. They do that a lot. Defender was out and went with them, 31 to safety. So we know, all right, safety's got LaPorta. That's man-to-man. We'll cross the formation, and this safety's going to go where LaPorta goes. We got to put it out in front of him. So good job by Goff. The other thing good job by LaPorta, decent job by Goff. The other thing that we want to show, though, on this play, it's the Amon-Ra St. Brown effect again. Here's Tyrann Mathieu. In fact, let's back it up and watch Matthew the whole way. This is basically a dedicated double. He's coming up like he's blitzing. Matthew does not blitz from inside very often, though. He's usually outside if he does blitz. So the Lions can probably expect, all right, he's here to cover the middle of the field. Watch where he turns and looks when the ball is snapped. He's going right immediately to St. Brown. It's 2-on-1 against St. Brown, and we're going to run with him. That is a dedicated double team all the way. Exactly what the Lions want. Goff's already throwing because by dedicating the double, and again, we see here's Davis taking the running back. We saw that earlier out of cover 3. Now we see it in man-to-man. By doubling and then releasing the back to Davis, you create that clear passing lane again for LaPorta. Coverage is man, not zone this time, so the window was a little tighter. LaPorta made a good catch, keeping the post safety out of the equation as well. The Lions are a really well-schemed offense, in part because they have St. Brown, in part because they've got Gibbs, weapons around them, and then they've got this guy between all of it, LaPorta, who can win one-on-one. Sometimes, in this case, he kind of wins 1-on-1.5. Good play by the Lions to basically seal a victory.